Hello, and welcome to another episode of Natural Edges, One More Rep. I'm your host, Sully, and continuing on with our Team Australia phase, we are now here with the ladies of Down Under. I want to start with our first guest, our organizer, our originator, and the person who put Australia OCB on the map, Lisa. Morning, Lisa. How you doing today?
Morning, Sally. How are you? I'm good. Thank you.
I, I'm doing fantastic. Hey, to reiterate, tell us a little bit about your journey of getting OCB Australia up and on the map.
Um, yeah, I guess it was probably a little bit, I don't know, accidental in a way. um, so something that just kind of organically happened. So in 2023, I decided to go and try OCB myself. I was in prep and competing. So I traveled to the States and did the Apex show and was fortunate to earn my OCB Pro card at that show. A week later was Yorton Cup. So, of course, being traveling all the way over there, it was something I had the opportunity to go and do. So I went down there and then met the team, met yourself, Chad, Frank, Marjorie. And I think I was just having, chatting to Marjorie about just how much I loved the feel of the OCB community. Like, just from even before I had got to the States and got to that show, like just the communication from day dot, like from the moment I'm contacted through the Instagram page, just to find out about shows, like just the amount of information I was provided, just helping getting organized to go over there to work out which shows which would be good for me to do, was just all really useful. And just, yeah, backstage, I had also been doing online posing with Michelle, and I had met a couple of people through online posing. Mind you, I was getting up at 2 a.m. to do this in Australia. But that was pretty cool too, because a couple of the people that I had been posing with online were actually at the Apex show. So I got to meet them in person. And then same at Yorton Cup, I was on stage with Kristen. We were in the same
Mm.
class in women's physique. So, it was kind of a very surreal experience that I had been meeting these people online, and then I had got to meet them in person. And it was just a really great community, great feel. Everyone was just really super supportive of each other, even though we were competing against each other. Yeah, just made to feel really, really welcomed. And I know it was just a very different vibe to what I had experienced previously. And so, yeah, just after that conversation, I think when I then eventually came home, we had all got together and had a bit of a chat and just, approached the idea whether it was something that I could bring to Australia. And yeah, here we are. So first show last year, and we're just about to head into our to my third show on August 31st. Yeah, so that's pretty much how it's happened.
And it's the coolest thing about you is the transition that you made from being an exceptional competitor to an exceptional promoter, and that you just absorbed our culture in the OCB and just brought it down there. And it's one of the things that I often talk about. And one of your guests I talked to about the OCB many, many years ago when we were together in a foreign land. But when people think about the OCB and they keep talking about all our shows and how they're organized and run and the five, people don't realize that that's the culture of our organization. And we seek promoters out that kind of have that same type of ethics and ideas and all the same stuff, and to find one that just flies in and does a show from Australia and it just exports the entire culture of the organization to a new land, that was just amazing. It was a home run for us. Now, you are women's physique, correct?
Yes, I am.
What do you think about women's physique and bodybuilding in the OCB? And I only ask because it is one of my favorite categories. I don't have a single favorite. They're all my favorites when they're on stage. But it's the one, other than the pros, we struggle the most with getting.
Well, compared to Australia, that's probably one of the reasons I tried OCB, because here in Australia, like women's physique and bodybuilding categories, there's not a lot of competitors. And so I was so in Australia, we have figure symmetry, but then they also have figure muscularity. So you're still wearing heels, but you're doing your muscularity, like women's physique poses, in heels, and they call it figure. So it can be a little bit confusing. Um, and I just have like with my frame and how my symmetry is. I just wasn't quite that kind of fit. And so that's why I went to try OCB in the first place because you guys have women's physique. And because I get my strengths are my symmetry and my conditioning. Um, and I love the muscularity poses. So for me, it's just a really good fit, and I love it. And I think when I did Yorton, we had 24 pros on stage, which is the largest pro lineup I've ever been in. I think prior to that, the largest I've done was 8 at another World Championship show. So from that perspective, for me, there is a lot more in OCB for that competitive space. And I guess, but yeah, in Australia it is low, but that is my goal, I guess, to kind of revive what women's physique is, to make that, lots of it, and taking lots of education around, because Australia uses figure muscularity, that there are ladies who do figure muscularity who make extremely good women's physique competitors. And so I'm very excited to say that we have Masters and Open Women's Physique as a pro qualifier for August, which is super exciting. So I think it's just taking a lot of education and people to realise just exactly what it is, and that it's a really beautiful category. Like it's a strong category, great muscularity. Like we have so many ladies that have great natural muscle, and they're just beautiful poses as well. So I would just love to see it grow, and to make a bit of a comeback here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's starting to, in the States too, we're starting to actually see some of the numbers jumping up. Show I just promoted, I had 10 pros and I had 8 amateur.
Wow. Yeah.
And so it's starting to transition around. So I want to see it grow too. So I'm so excited that you have that as pro qualifiers in your show coming up. That's fantastic. Hey,
Yes.
I'm going to start going through your team here, which is a team of assembled pros from Australia. Only fair to go alphabetical. So I'm going to start with Angela. Angela, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself and your bodybuilding journey.
My name's Angela. I obviously from Australia. I'm in the military, so I move around quite a lot, living down in Canberra in the capital at the moment. I started bodybuilding in 2007. So a long time ago. I've been competing a long time. I've had some great success in my journey. Came from being overweight to now competing in figure and physique, depending on which federation you like to talk about. I have had an awesome career in the military, which strangely enough is obviously where we met in the Middle East back in 2016, I think it was, which is how I first came to know about OCB. We had lengthy conversations about the federation, what it stood for, and I really think that it aligned very much with our military culture, that sort of community and camaraderie that we have, and sort of what I like to promote to my troops and that sort of stuff. So I saw it as a really good fit. So it was really exciting last year when Lisa brought OCB to Australia, and I thought, this is my chance. I've wanted to do one of your shows for a very, very long time. So it was exciting to actually get up on stage with everyone else and actually do an OCB show. So that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, and we did meet back in the day, and it's just amazing how life churns. I promoted a show in as we said in our location, an undisclosed location in Southeast Asia, because we could never name where we were at. And you had just missed your first OCB competition. It wasn't OCB sanctioned, but when we had the Rumble in the Desert. So promoted under the tent and down there. You had just missed it, and I thought that was going to be like our last connection. But that's the thing I love, and the amazing thing about this sport is when you have the longevity in it, and you make these connections. You're always crisscrossing back over. You're always running into people, and that's the best part about the sport is it's like old home week. Competitions shouldn't be competitions. They should be festivals of muscle and feminine beauty. And that's why I cannot
Yeah.
wait to get you to the Yorton Cup. Now, I don't think you're going to come this year. Are you going to come next year?
Yeah, definitely looking at coming in 2026. I'm in the middle of sorting out a posting at the moment, back
Uh,
up to Brisbane. So yeah, the plan is to get over there next year.
Now, how many years of service time do you have now?
Ooh, 25, 26.
Nice, nice, nice. Are you going to keep going? Are you going to hit my mark?
How many years did you do? How many
Uh,
years did you do?
I just retired with 42 on paper, but a few of those were IRR. And we have in the United States is when you enlist, you are considered in the system, but your actual duty service doesn't. So you get years of service, but not years that you actually put in. So about 38 of actual wearing a uniform. So, and it was a fun ride. I wouldn't have missed it for the world. And what do you do for the Air Force? Can you say?
I kind of can at the moment. So currently I'm in a out of trade position. So I'm the digital content manager for Air Force. So that's basically managing all of their websites, social media, that sort of stuff. So absolutely loving it. And if I could stay in this role for a number of years, that would be amazing. I'll be doing it remote from Brisbane next year, just because my partner is also in the Air Force and he's posting. So yeah, I'll do it remotely. But other than that, the basic outline would be communications. So
Right.
yeah, it's good fun, has a lot of opportunity.
Outstanding. Hey, so glad to cross paths with you again, and I just can't wait to get you to America. And I will see you when I come up next year to Australia and hang out with the team. All right, now I get the same question for somebody who I've already had the pleasure to see compete on a Yorton Cup stage. Bonnie, how are you doing today?
Oh, good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What people don't realize is that Bonnie was our first pro that came from Australia with Lisa last year to compete in the bikini category and won her class and was battling for the overall. So that's the kind of talent that we're bringing up from down under. So, Bonnie, tell us a little bit about yourself, uh, your journey to the Yorton Cup, coming all the way up from down under.
Um, well, that was a whole surprise for sure. I wasn't expecting that last year. Um, I guess I have like a varied history, just random jobs. I get bored quite easy, so I've done many things over the years. Also have the military experience because I wanted to give that a go. So have that under my belt. Left full time from there. I'm still doing some reserves at the moment, so I have some random reserve jobs that I like to do and sort of keep in the loop a little bit. Um, and then eventually, yeah, moved to Brisbane, settled here, thought I'd see how it goes. And surprisingly, I haven't left yet. Normally, I get itchy feet and leave, but I'm still here. So essentially, just working in within the defence realm, so like for contractors and supporting other defence projects. So it's nice to sort of keep that familiarity. And that's kind of, I mean, when I was posted up to Townsville, I went to watch a show and I was like, oh, maybe one day. And it kind of planted the seed that never really went away. So the plan was to try this. I want to say 2020. Anyway, I just started. I was like, yep, let's give it a go. And then 2 weeks in, COVID hit, so that shut that whole thing down, which I guess was probably for the best. I don't know if it would have worked out this way if I did it back then. And again, the idea never went away. So I guess it was more of a health perspective thing as well. Because like I struggle to find things that I enjoy doing. And so I wasn't happy with my physique, I guess. So it was like, do I want a quick fix, which I definitely was looking into, or do I want to go down this path and try the bodybuilding thing? So it kind of worked together. And then it's funny how like it all connects, because in my current workplace, there was someone I worked sort of with, and everyone like ex-defense, and then he sort of said, oh, I've done it. So I would pick his brain about what he did. And he said, oh, I used to work with someone who's ex-defense who's now coaching. So he gave me his number, and I guess the rest is history. So it all kind of just links together, and we started training. And I guess just a past history of sport kind of set me up with a decent physique that I didn't know was under there. So yeah, it all happened quite quickly last year, to be honest. I wasn't planning. I was actually meant to compete season A this year. And then Lisa and my coach were like, you could probably do this year if you want. I was like, yeah, let's get it out of the way. So it was a bit of a whirlwind. It all happened quite quick. And then obviously Lisa's show was first, and I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know what I was doing. And then to have that opportunity with the pro card, I still can't quite comprehend it. And then the whole Yorton opportunity, and I was like, who am I? I don't do stuff like this. So I thought, I might not ever do this again. So let's just go. Like, it'll be a nice little side trip. And it was really good going with Lisa, because I wouldn't have gone by myself. And it was just a really good experience. So it was an absolutely wild year, that's for sure.
So how many shows in total have you done?
I ended up doing 4.
Was last year your first year of competing?
Yeah.
So you jumped right in, did Lisa's show and your Yorton Cup like in your first run, and you won your class at the Yorton Cup. And you were
I was
and yet you were just sitting there go, yeah, I'm just gonna give it a go and just see how I
yeah,
do. And maybe I'll do one and done.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
haven't even
basically.
started touching your potential yet. You haven't even
No,
begun. Wow.
no. And I'd only signed up with my coach in November the previous year, so it was very fast.
So from Angela, who has been doing this for a very, very long time with an impressive resume, to Bonnie, who just got plucked in. Lisa throws her in the show, and next thing you know, she's at the Yorton Cup. It just goes to show that the talent down there that you have, Lisa, from novice to seasoned professional. I mean, there's a very, very fine gap. And I know that by watching your videos, the videos from your shows the last 2 years, the level of talent at the top is pretty high,
Yeah.
amazingly high.
Yeah, we got some great competitors down here, and very keen to get more over to Yorton. So
Oh, me too. Me too. Hey, so Bonnie, I do have a couple of follow-up questions I've got to ask you. What branch of the armed service?
Air Force.
I am sensing a trend here. I am absolutely loving this. Now, I have to ask, are there any other branches of the service in Australia? Because I've yet to talk to somebody who's Navy, Marines, or Army. This is great. Now, in
I'll have
down
to bring some next year.
Gotta hunt them out. Gotta hunt them out. It's the best camaraderie when you're backstage is when all the inter service people are kind of, like bragging
Yeah.
on, who's the best and whatever. So, is there a big inter service? I don't want to call it rivalry because in the States, when, as you know, Angela, when you're in a deployed location, it don't matter if you're Army, what uniform you're wearing. If you're on our side, you're on our side. But you always have that, little fun jabs. Is it like that down there too?
Absolutely. And that fields into the emergency services as well. So defence emergency services, there's always that sort of intra-service rivalry.
I guess it's people are people. It's going to be the same everywhere. All right. And for the one person that I have not yet met in person or know anything about, Isabella, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your bodybuilding journey, and what you got, what got you to the stage? What's your next step?
Um, hey, Isabella, again, obviously I am from Australia. I am not from Brisbane though, or up where the other two ladies are. I'm from a small regional town. Um, I kind of started bodybuilding and I'd say it wasn't by choice, wasn't my choice per se. I really always did fitness and I was a competitive swimmer back in the day. And then I started when I entered into the kind of workforce, I wanted to get my nutrition a bit better. So I joined up with a small local kind of gym that did a bit of nutrition, did a few training and 12-week programs with them, and then started to do PT. And after I think 18 months or 2 years of training with them, the PT said, why don't you give bodybuilding a go? And they kind of specialize in the bodybuilding. So jumped on into that. And last year was my first year of competing. So I did probably started in June, 2.5 years ago. I started kind of the food prep and that. And then my first show was at the very start of last year. And then I saw OCB kind of pop up in the middle of the year. And it was a very quick turnaround. So I did back-to-back seasons last year. I did A and B, which it was quite a struggle. So I'm a paramedic and I was a paramedic prior to that, but then I got into the special operations side of it. So we do the rescue. And I had a training course, and it was about 2 weeks after the training course was the first comp. And I thought, do I pull the pin or do I just suck it up and go for it? So, Mama didn't raise no fool, so I went for it. And funny enough, my first ever competition I did was actually where I met Angela. So it was the defense and emergency one. And then I saw OCB. It must have been on Instagram. I think it popped up, and I thought that looks cool. There's only ever going to be a first OCB in Australia once, and I don't want to miss the first one. So I trotted up to Brisbane. I had a few friends up there. Bonnie beat me. And that's fine because she did awesome over at Yorton. So, and it was so good. I went up there. I didn't know anyone backstage. And then thought I definitely want to do it again next year, and came back again this year, and here I am.
Now, how many shows have you totally competed in? 4, 5?
Oh, I did I think 5 last season.
5?
And then I did only 1 so far this year, and then I've got Yorton Cup in 8 weeks, 8.5. I'm really terrible. I think it's 8.5 weeks. Yeah, I'm glad I was planning on doing another show a couple of weeks ago. However, with chats with the coach, there's only going to be potentially one opportunity to go to Yorton. So we scrapped that, and all eyes ahead to Yorton.
Well, I think you're going to have a good time at Yorton. We've really upped our game again because we're always trying to give it back into the athletes to make everything better. A little more international flavor this year. So we're going to be hosting our affiliates with a little bit more pride up on that stage. So I think you're going to have a great experience. Now, you said you had, previous athletic experience. You were a competitive swimmer. Were you at the same level of success in that as you are with bodybuilding?
I got to national level and I competed against, I just came through at a very bad timing of the Emily Seebohm era, the girls that went over to the Olympics. So that was a very rough time to try and compete. But I did travel to New Zealand for my swimming, but that's kind of as far as it went with the swimming. It's just very hard to maintain the 10 2.5 hour training sessions a week on top of a full-time work. It's very difficult.
Yeah, especially with what you're doing, it can be very labor intensive, and I'm sure that there's continuous drills and fitness, with your with what you're doing. I want to get into the culture of bodybuilding in Australia. You guys are all from slightly different areas, but I'm sure you go to different gyms. The gym culture in America, every gym in America has bodybuilders. I mean, every gym in America has coaches and experts and the whole. I mean, it's evolved to that. How is it in Australia? Do you have like the same number of competitors, the same level, like a gym on every corner? Literally, the little town I live in, if you can find Powhatan on a map in Virginia, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. We have 4 gyms, 5 gyms. It's everywhere. We have bodybuilders here. Is it the same in Australia? And we'll go alphabetical again. Angela, is it the same in Australia?
I don't think it's the same in Australia. I think you've got certain gyms that suit certain types of people. There's certainly your very prevalent bodybuilding gyms like World Gym, Powerhouse, EMF up in Queensland. There's a couple of specialist type ones that are just a one-off, like down here in Canberra, we've got Fortitude Fitness. But then you've got your other little 24-hour ones like Snap Fitness or Anytime that really just cater to a mix of people. They're not traditionally bodybuilding gyms. But yeah, I think it's just a mix. I don't know if the other girls will agree with me, but that's the way I see it.
Bonnie, what about in your area? I mean, you said you've traveled a lot. Do you find bodybuilders everywhere, or is it pretty isolated?
Uh, it's obviously smaller here than America. Like I'm very sheltered, so I don't know much about many things. So prior to this, I never came across anyone who'd really done it or competed or saw anyone in the gym or through my travels. Yeah. So now that I'm in it, I guess you can kind of spot some people here and there, but I think noticed it until now, really.
Yeah, we froze up for 1 second. My internet connection is again doing wavy things. So I lost you. So I was going to just have you answer that again and edit this out as soon as we're back. Okay. Yeah, do you mind answering that one more time? I'm going to edit this part out.
Uh, yeah, so I'm quite sheltered. I don't know much about many things. So for me, I'd never noticed it anywhere, noticed people who competed or in the gym necessarily. I mean, I've never been much of a gym attendee, so yeah, I didn't really have that recipe for noticing the things. I think it's certain gyms that really attract it. But yes, it's definitely a lot smaller than America. You know, you guys have shows basically every week. It's wild. So yeah, it's like certain pockets here where it's popular, but it might grow. Who knows?
Well, I'm hoping. I figure that if every person who works out in Australia competes, then you guys would have about the same number of competitors we have in the States. So only a small difference in population there. So Isabella, what about you? How's your gym? Are you the only bodybuilder there?
Very much so. Yep. It is a very regional town. There might be a few. I think my gym's more of a health and fitness club. I'm very limited on the gyms I have here. We've only got one sauna in town, and it costs me an arm and a leg to borrow and use during prep. So, yeah, that's been quite the adjustment since moving out here. But I think it's part of I say kind of, I'm in my 20s, so it's like my generation, my era. There's a lot more people going to the gym and maybe talking about bodybuilding, but they've never found that leap of faith to jump into it. They don't know where to start. They look at it and find it maybe a bit too overwhelming. But I think bodybuilding, again, it's a very niche market, and I only knew about it because it just so happened that the gym that I signed up to, that they specialize in that back where I do my nutrition. So I would hope to see it grow. And I think more people are starting to do it with our generation coming through that are kind of more focused in going to the gym than going on nights out. And they're more interested in spending their time and money at the gym as opposed to in bed, or a bit more of that lazy type of era, which is quite good to see and quite comforting. So, and I'm always encouraging those at the gym. If you want to give it a whirl, you don't have to be the best, but you just, it's a good goal, something to aim towards.